Okay, guys, first of all, Spadia is not just a YouTube channel. We have also digital products, physical products, which are going to help you about everything we talk about in these videos. You can find two links in the descriptions below. And now let's get back to the video you came here to actually watch.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are continuing with our month on hormones and we have episode about cortisol, which we are going to be diving especially deeper in relation to the stress response and how it's actually associated with stress, how you can especially learn how to better manage stress in any stressful situation. This could be either work, this could be some social situations as well, or even it could be in relation to your own gym performance or even how it affects that, and especially how it can impact your own mood, behavior, and especially how you feel about the stressful situations, which we've just named a couple of examples. Now, cortisol is very much closely associated with adrenaline as well, especially when you get into a stressful response. As you can probably imagine, adrenaline, just to quickly bounce back because we also had a video about that, adrenaline does basically impact your behavior in terms of you wanting to move immediately out of place. This is also why you can basically become slightly irritated if you are stressed in certain situations. You have a feeling that you just want to get out of there, which is probably the most common description of the feeling that people get when they are stressed. But cortisol's role is especially related to the fact that you want the cortisol to be high in those situations when you are stressed, because it allows you to prepare your body for certain response, and especially it's quite helpful in situations where it's actually healthy. So for example, in terms of stress, we are not just talking about stress at work when you have something unexpected come up, but the stress response itself is also closely associated. It's basically the same thing when you, for example, lift weight in the gym and your body then has to adapt to that situation itself. So this is why the stress response itself is absolutely important that it happens, because it allows you to basically restructure your own brain circuits after something happens. So you basically learn from that situation. In terms of the gym itself, you can also learn, but also your own muscles when you get enough of a stress response, because it's basically itself a stress response where you stress your muscles to basically tear them down. Well, in that case, cortisol is also very closely associated with that, as it basically makes you either learn or grow from the particular moment when you were stressing your body or your own mind at the same time. This is especially why it's huge that you are able to learn how to manage your stress response. And now, fortunately, there's quite a lot of data to support the fact that you can, especially nowadays, learn how to manage a stress threshold better, which basically just means that if you get into a situation which is stressful for you, you will be then less likely to be stressed, for example, at work, if you've managed to handle stressful situations before already with your own mind, whether it's emotionally or physically as well. This is why, for example, I think the easiest example is to say that if you manage to lift 20 kg at the gym with basically 120 kilos, you will most likely see, if you also have your nutrition set up correctly, that you will be able to lift more, or at least you will be able to lift more easily the same weight over time. And this is because your own body adapts to the previous stressful situation that happened. And this is also why all the times the gym itself is very, very amazing, and I would say the number one long-term thing that you can do to basically learn how to manage your own stress response, because it's something similar where you have to learn to get through it, to basically do the last rep if you have it, to do additional set when especially you don't feel like it. And since it's a form of stress, very, very similar, if not the same, to the feeling of stress that you might get at work, well, you can see quite more easily how handling and learning how to handle your stress that basically impacts your body in the gym is especially helpful. Now, in terms of, let's say, psychological stress, there is an amazing tool which we've discussed many, many times on this channel already, and this is called showers, and they especially elevate both cortisol and adrenaline at the same time as you get in there. And because it's not a situation where you are about to lose your life, of course, I will say a disclaimer that make sure that the water isn't too cold if you're doing this for the first time. But in any other case, if you get into cold shower and you're able to stay there for a longer time than would be comfortable for you, which is a huge disclaimer that doing something which isn't comfortable will trigger this response. And cold shower is just a very easy tool for you to use because it allows you to do something which isn't comfortable for you, but it's not something that may make or break your career or something where to happen, or your own work as well. It's something that you can do at any time. And the second amazing thing about this is that you are going to feel amazing after it, similarly to gym as well, because you will get basically larger dopamine increase couple of hours after you've done it. So it's not basically an elevation of dopamine which will be very high, but this is dopamine which will be triggered over time with a slight increase. And what this basically means that you will feel better, and this is why you also feel much better after you do, for example, gym session as well, or after, if you were to actually do cold shower, which does suck, but you have an awesome feeling after you actually do it. And it allows you to basically handle the stress response yourself if you manage to stay in the shower for a couple of seconds longer than would be otherwise comfortable for you. Now, I mean, for gym, for example, you could, of course, be continuing to increase your stress threshold, for example, by increasing your weight or continuing. But for example, for cold showers, it's not as easy because, of course, you can go only as far cold to make that safe. But at the same time, basically extending the length of time that you are in the shower every time is basically not something that I would advise, since basically all have limited time. On that hand, you can't, of course, continuously increase the time in the shower. But of course, what you just can do is to instead make sure to set up a schedule where you're trying to do it, for example, every second day, to start with once a week or twice a week, and then to make sure that you're able to be consistent with it. And that's something that you can basically continue and make sure that you basically do it and do not skip too often. Some days that you will set up this schedule, for example, doing twice a week. Many people, including myself, basically added it into an everyday schedule, as it helps quite a lot to start off with a cold shower in the morning, which is huge. But this is how you can basically try and see and test any of those things which can elevate your cortisol, but in a way that is one healthy and that is going to help you to manage your stress response, and especially learn how to manage your stress response quite a bit better. Now, hopefully this video was helpful. This was a bit shorter than with the previous sections, but of course we will be also making some additional videos on cortisol, as well as there are many different areas as well that we haven't touched on too much yet. For example, on how it manages your response in terms of your immune system as well, which is a huge thing that cortisol is a part of, as it's also additional form of stress, and many other areas in your own life that we've done some episodes about. But it definitely, as cortisol does a huge part of altering our behavior and what happens, it deserves basically many episodes to do about. So definitely look forward to those, and thank you for watching. Bye.